Hello everyone, my name is Achilles and welcome to another Napoleon Total War video. This is going to be a 2v2 on Italian Grassland. I'm playing as the Ottomans, my teammate Johannes von Bonn is playing as Spain. Our opponents, Rycco from the BGD Inf clan, is playing with Britain, and we have Black Sheep, also a very good player, is playing with Prussia. Now for my army, I've got a bunch of these Nazim-seated infantry, about 7 of them, 2 lights, 2 Solithar guards, 3 mounted Nazim Sidit, 3 Semi-Janissaries, 2 of these Bashi Bazooks, and Ahmed al-Jazar as general. For Johannes playing as Spain, we have several of these guerrilla units for Spain, securing the ridges and the hills. Of course, a lot of cavalry. We can see some lanceros, some heavy cavalry. Gregorio Garcia de la Cuesta, I probably butchered her name, but that is his general, a historical general for Spain. Then we see a bunch of lights, Fusiliers of the line, and I guess 2 Walloon guards, 1 over here and 1 over here. For Britain, we see King German Legion light dragoons, some normal light dragoons, a lot of cav for Britain actually. We see 4 cav. They're gonna run up the hill and they're gonna get slaughtered by these guerrillas, and the cavalry can of course protect them. I'm gonna pause it over here actually, and we'll get into the action later. So we see, of course, 2 King German Legion light foot and some light foots, 5 lights in total. We see a bunch of lines and cav, and we don't have an historical general for Britain. And for the Prussians, of course, 5 lights, 8 life regiment actually. Foot guard, 8th Life Regiment, these guys. Did he bring some grenadiers, or am I overlooking something? Oh, okay, so he brought 2 foot guards, 8th Life Regiment, some musketeers, and of course some cav, dragoons, some lancers. So, as you can see, England is going to try and go for the hill. They're going to charge into the skirmish cav. Skirmish cav is going to pull away, and Johannes is going to charge in his heavy cav into the light dragoons. That should make short work of them, as we also have a charge from the hussars into the light dragoons. That should also be a fight for the hussars. Now we see that Prussia is trying to move up on this hill. It's going to try and push through the forest. I was sending my cavalry over here so that we definitely win the fight on this hill. I've also sent my Solithar guard in support and sending it to kill all these dragoons. I have mounted Nazim in this forest. In the forest, they're not as effective as they would be outside of the forest, so that's why I'm kind of pulling them over here to see if I can shoot at them. We see that Johannes is shooting at the lights that are coming. He's going to counter charge as well with his cavalry, whilst giving all of my infantry the time to run up. You can see that I'm kind of positioned that I'm taking this forest, I'm taking this ridge, and I also wanted to take this forest, but Prussia is going really heavy into this forest, so I'm going to have to pull back over here. I'm pulling up my light a little bit too far up here. I should pull it back right now. I have my Solithar guard charging into the lancers that are willing about to charge in my Bashi bazooks. I'm pulling back my light infantry that got a lot of casualties already. Over here we can see that Spain also started to engage Britain in the forest. Let's talk about my engagement right now. So I have my light running up. I'm gonna, of course, put him in square formation. When cavalry charges you, you want to pull him in square formation. Johannes is going to countercharge the lights and the 8th Life Regiment and the foot guards with his cavalry, so that they have to square up, so that they can't move up. Because, let me go so much for a second. The reason why Johannes von Bonn charged in, basically, is because if you see right now, my forces are kind of in a bad shape. I have to square up. I only have 1 line over here. If Black Sheep was able to run up with all his cav and with all his lines and light, especially these very expensive ones, then he would have been able to just crush me over here. So that's very nice from Johannes that he charged in right here, buying me time to clean up the cavalry to counter it, and so on. In the forest, the main engagement is also starting. I'm running up with my lines very far into the forest, backed up by Semi-Janissaries, and I'm going to start firing into all of these units. Of course, first I gotta reform the line, but I'm also charging in my Semi-Janissaries already into these foot guards. You can see lots of casualties on both sides. Johannes von Bonn is pulling back out of this forest, kiting away with the light infantry. Smart idea. You don't want to take the main engagements with Britain. Just like you don't want to get into a shootout with Britain, but that's what Johannes is doing. But he's slowly but surely picking apart this foot unit, and Britain is going to move up as well on this contingent. We have a Dragoon that actually went around and is going to charge my semi-Janissaries in the back. I have some luck that they are in the forest. But right now, I really need to get my stuff together here. I need to send my light sword, I need to send my bashes in, I need to reform my lines over here. Which I'm going to do now, but right now I want to support this fight in the center over here. I've got some... this is Johannes' cav charging down actually into these lights.
Our men are running, sir.
Charging in my cav. Black Sheep is of course going to make a square, and actually Black Sheep isn't really pushing on this flank with his lights, which he actually should. So I'm going into light mode. He doesn't have any lights over here, so I can just shoot at the foot guards at the light regiment. I'm also going to make sure that he has to square up with this foot guard as well. He's not going to do that actually, so it's very good for me that I got a charge off, and that way I can move up of course with my lines. I will move up with my lines because when your opponent is in a square, he can only shoot with 1/4 of his total unit. So Black Sheep is going to be smart and he's going to unsquare. But I have all of these units tied up over here, so that way I will get some nice volleys on all these expensive units like the foot guards. Sending my bashes, so he's forced to send away his Prussian Fusilier behind his foot guard. When his Prussian Fusilier is behind his foot guard, his Prussian Fusilier can't shoot, and he will be forced to square up with his foot guard. He's still going to do that actually. He's going to let them fight. I'm here wreaking havoc with my cavalry in the rear of these Prussian foot units. So the battle on the ridge is going kind of nice for me. I have all these Bashi bazooks that I can just throw into the fight. We have the lights sprouting. I'm pulling back over here because he was pushing up with this light unit over here. I have a cavalry unit that came back, and Johannes von Bonn right here is being a beast right now. He's making optimal use of his lights. He's actually keeping back his balloon guards and his Fusiliers, because Britain lost all of his cavalry and we basically won the fight over here in the center. That means that he can just leave his lights unsupported, whilst Britain cannot do that. So Britain is actually taking double casualties because the shots go through and they hit our other units. If Britain shoots over here against Johannes' units, he won't hit anything. Therefore Johannes is in a very good spot right now. In the center, my swords are holding out. We've done a very nice job. We basically won decisively in the forest. And right now I'm also going to push, like you can see that I'm bringing my cavalry units back over here. I've got a Nazim that went around, and I'm going to send it over here so that he can't basically pull back, so he has to stand and fight. I've got a Bashi Bazook that is tying up these musketeers. My guys are shooting in a nice formation. I'm flanking him with a lot of units. I have two line units that are flanking him. He only has like a Prussian Fusilier here. It's not going to help him. He's squaring up with his musketeers. Very nice move. So I'm just going to ignore that, and I'm going towards this to this forest. Basically gonna try to kill the Fusilier and to charge, like to annoy the foot guards in their backs. We have a full surround basically on these units. Johannes is charging the Prussian Fusilier, dealing with it nicely. He's also managing himself over here, and I'm sending my semi-Janissaries to this forest. I think that was a kind of a micro mistake, so I'm going to send them back, and I'm going to round up this flank. We've got the mounted Nazim charging into the Prussian Fusiliers. Prussian Fusiliers, of course, wanting to pull back to their position over here where they could be safe. If you could position your Fusiliers over here, for example, that would be very good for Black Sheep. Right now, just pushing up. I have my general close for support, and I'm dealing really nicely with all of these units from Prussia, from Black Sheep. You can really see that we're kind of, if you open the mini-map, we're kind of pushing through. We kind of have our opponents divided from each other, while we actually are together. Over here, Rycco is gonna try to do an attempt to stop me from flanking Black Sheep, which is really nice. He wants to help his teammate. He wants to try and link up with them again, but Johannes is of course not going to let that happen, and he's going to make sure that my flank is okay. Whilst of course fighting Britain. Britain still has some units left, but you can see this foot guard unit down to 35 men and a full balloon guard unit. Yeah, it's not going very well for Britain right here, but it's still a very tough engagement for Spain as well. So I've got my Silithar Guard charging into the lights, into General Staff, and basically what happened here is that Because of the Bashi bazooks and because of the cavalry, Prussia was forced to just square up the entire game. And when you're squared up, you cannot really do a lot. So I'm going to pull back my Silithar Guard. I don't really need them to fight. I don't really need them to fight the foot guards. Silithar Guards in the forest are not really that good. So I'm just going to shoot the square with both of my units. All of his units are in a square. Johannes is my flank. I'm also just countering the British units. And actually, I just won over this ridge right now. So now these units are isolated. I'm going to send forward one light and one line to basically hold this this entry, and then I'm going to make sure that he can't really push through with any of these units. So I got all of these units surrounded. I've got my swords in the forest, some infantry protecting my swords. Johannes over here is doing quite well for himself. His lights must almost be out of ammo. I assume he's targeting the Highland foot with his lights. And he actually isn't. He's targeting the light foot. He's going to send up his balloon guards, 87 men. That should just seal the deal. They're going to fire a volley at the Highland foot. Already lost. Yeah, there we go. Highland foot almost down to half strength. We have another foot running up. Johannes is going to pull back. But right now, we're kind of like, they're kind of really divided. They have 3 army contingent. They have one over here. They have one over here with the house, and they have one over here. The Prussian foot guards charged into my Nazim city that was cutting them off, and right now I'm kind of forced to charge in my Silithar Guard to just keep them at bay. I'm sending over my swordsmen to basically deal with all of these units, because right now he has a foot guard over here in the forest, very tough unit to kill, and he's got a musketeer coming back, actually coming to support the fight. So I have no units over here to basically counter it. I'm trying to form up this line unit to counter the musketeer, but the musketeer has the numbers. So it's going to be a very rough fight, so I definitely need the swords, I definitely need my cav in there. Pulling back my cavalry, and actually the morale for all of these units are pretty bad. We have Britain charging in. Of course, he wants to get into the forest before firing, but I have my lines set up. And we basically do have the numbers over here, I think. Setting up a line infantry. Line infantry is going to fire one volley, and it's going to make sure that these units will rout. I have my general also charging into the fray. I can now afford it to do that. I'm going to charge into the Prussian Fusilier. Prussian Fusilier is going to rout, going into the foot guard because the foot guard can't square up anymore. Sending in the Silithar Guard as well, and I'm sending in all my swords. So these units can do nothing. The foot guard routed. Just attacking it basically with my line infantry, the remaining line infantry over here to just tie it down. There's not much left to say right here. Johannes really did a nice job against England right here with Spain. And now basically army losses will kick in and the enemy will rout. We see that the musketeer over here gonna go in an engagement with the mounted Nazim, but the morale of the army losses should kill them basically. Some Janissaries, and the musketeers might get the better hand of this unit over here, but they won't be able to beat this basically full unit of some Janissaries. I think from this point on I can fast forward. I think this is a really nice battle. We kind of fought with minor nations against the big nations, and it's always nice to see a battle like that. So there we go, the Highland foot in the forest, about to rout, and that's gonna be game. GG. So I killed more than Johannes. Johannes killed over 1,000. Black Sheep also did really well. He was tough to crack. Then again, thank you for watching, and see you later.